Hello, wonderful people, hope you're all doing well. Before we dive in, please like this video and subscribe if you haven't yet. It really helps us bring more of this kind of content to you. Now, let's get into today's story. We've got a major development in Abuja that's grabbing headlines. Omoyele Sowore has publicly declared he will defy a court order. Yes, you heard that right. And the Nigeria police force is warning strongly against the planned #FreeNamdi Kanu protest. Let's break down what's happening, why it matters, and what could unfold next. First, what's the core of the story? Sowore is leading a movement to demand the release of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, who has been detained and is facing terrorism-related charges following his extradition from Kenya in 2021. The protest is scheduled for Monday, October 20, 2025 in Abuja. But here's where things get tense. A federal high court in Abuja issued a restraining order on October 17, 2025, in the case Federal Republic of Nigeria vs. Omoyele Sowore and others, suit no. FHC/ABJ/CS/2202/2025. That order bars Sowore and his associates from protesting near certain key locations, also Rock Villa, the National Assembly, the Force Headquarters, the Court of Appeal, Eagle Square, and Shehu Shagari Way, basically the high security/high visibility areas. Then, the Nigeria police force issued a statement through their spokesperson Benjamin Hundian, saying the order is valid and binding, and warning any protesters, for or against Kanu's release, to stay within the law. They stressed they would enforce the order, keep traffic moving, protect lives and property, and that digital evidence, social media posts, etc., may be used against anyone who incites unrest. Now here comes the twist. Sowore says the court order is invalid because it was not served properly on him and his co-organizers. He claims it expires if not served in the required time frame and therefore is not binding. He's insisting the protest will go ahead and that no legal barrier stands in the way of the people's right to peaceful assembly. So you see the conflict. On one side you have the authorities saying, we have a court order, you must not protest in these places. On the other, Sowore says, no valid order, our right to protest remains intact. The tension is real and the stakes are high. Why this matters? Rights versus security. The right to protest is guaranteed under Nigerian law. But so is the government's duty to preserve public order, especially around high security zones like Oso Rock. We have a balancing act here. Political dimension. The issue of Nnamdi Kanu's detention and the agitation around it is deeply political and emotional, particularly in the southeast. This protest is not just about him, it taps into bigger questions of self-determination, federal power, regional rights, and how the state deals with dissent. President, if this protest goes ahead despite the court order, it raises questions about judicial respect, enforcement of orders, and the effectiveness of the legal system. If it's blocked and met with heavy force, it raises human rights concerns. Public safety. The authorities anticipate that any large gathering, especially one near sensitive zones, could spark clashes, traffic chaos, or opportunistic violence. The police are making preparations and issuing warnings accordingly. Let's talk about what could happen next, possibilities, outcomes, and what to watch for, because we're all about staying ahead of the gist. The protest could go ahead anyway, with Sowore mobilizing supporters in Abuja. If so, you'll likely see heavy police presence, maybe barricades, traffic restrictions, arrests, maybe confrontation. The authorities could preemptively block access to the protest zones, deploy riot police, set up checkpoints, and attempt to enforce the court order physically. That might escalate tensions. Sowore's legal team may file motions on Monday, October 20th, to challenge the order, claiming procedural defects. The court may set further hearings. The order may be varied, extended, or lifted. If the protest does take place elsewhere, a less sensitive zone, it may still draw large numbers, but the symbolic impact will be different, less immediate proximity to power centers, maybe less media attention, but still significant. The state of play after the protest could affect negotiations around Kanu's case, influence public opinion, and set tones for future protests in Nigeria about regional grievances. Here are some reflections, things I want you to think about. Are you of the view that the court's restraining order is justified because it involves sensitive zones where security is vital? Or do you believe the order unduly limits citizens' rights to assemble? The claim Sowore makes about service of the court order and validity raises legal technicalities. How often are such orders used to limit protest in Nigeria? What precedent does this set? When protests have deep-seated political or ethnic undertones, as in Kanu's case and Southeast grievances, is the heavy security approach the best way, or does it risk inflaming the situation further? For everyday Nigerians, including you watching, what does this mean in terms of having a voice, exercising your rights, and understanding how protest works in this country? Before I wrap this up, don't forget, like this video, share with friends who want to stay informed about Nigeria's political and civil rights landscape, and of course subscribe so you don't miss our future updates. To sum up, this is a high-stakes showdown between a popular activist, SEO, asserting the people's right to protest, and the state apparatus, via police plus court, asserting restriction in the interest of security and order. The proof will be in how Monday plays out. Whether the protest proceeds, how the police respond, how the courts move. So stay tuned, because whatever happens could very well set the tone for protest movements in Nigeria going forward. I'll be back with follow-up coverage and we'll watch closely how this unfolds. If you have thoughts, drop a comment. Do you think Sowore is right to defy? Or do you side with the court's prerogative? Let's discuss. Alright, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.